Hey moms! So today we were talking about dairy, okay? We're going to talk about how we remove it. We're going to talk about strategies, right? Okay, so here's the funny thing about this video. Nobody needs a strategy on how to remove dairy. Nobody needs a strategy on how to remove gluten, preservatives, refined sugars, corn, salicylates. You actually don't need a strategy. And the reason that I put off doing a video is because the ones that I did in the last couple of days, when I'd rewatch them, I'm like, that's not really hitting home for me. And I had to keep thinking, what is it about me that makes it just so black and white to not have dairy? And why do I have so many ideas and strategies on how easy it is for me to not have dairy? And then it clicked. So here's what I want to tell you. This is the strategy that you will use for removing anything from your child's diet that you realize that they shouldn't be having. When I first started to remove dairy from Charlie's diet, and he was about 3.5, and also I tried to remove gluten at that time, I simply replaced all of his foods with other packaged goods, whether they be gluten-free chicken nuggets or dairy-free ice cream, whatever it was, I replaced and I substituted. I saw no changes, nothing to benefit him. I was confused and it was expensive and I was miserable and he wasn't getting any better, so I fell off that wagon very quickly. I did that over a number of months. It wasn't until he was 5 years old and we got him on a completely different path towards healing. And it really was more of a holistic way of looking at things. I was starting to see like, oh, we don't just look at dairy or gluten or dyes or preservatives or yeast. It was this whole idea of lightening the load on his system and healing his gut and making sure he had the proper minerals and nutrients so that his body could then miraculously work as it should and keep the inflammation at bay. And then all of the developmental delays that he had, I was slowly watching him, start to catch up and start to regain ground that he had lost from when he was so young. And when I saw the evidence, in little ways, I woke up one day and just said, oh, well, duh, now I get it. He can't have gluten. He can't have dairy. He can't have preservatives. He can't have refined sugars. We need to watch the processed food that he eats. None of it is helping his system. And not only that, it's not just hindering his healing. It's not just delaying the healing. It's actually harming him. So once you realize that for your sensitive children with their ADHD brains, that their food is either medicine or poison, medicine or poison. You need to make it really black and white during this stage because otherwise we will waffle and we will give in here and we will give in there and we don't have time to do that right now. And so once you say to yourself, anything you want to give them, is it medicine? Is it poison? Is it helping them? Is it hurting them? You get real clear real quickly. And so I need you to know, I need you to believe that at this time in their life, if they have ADHD symptoms, that I need them to have a really simple diet. I need them to have those little bodies not working so hard to digest their foods. We need to clean up that gut because when that gut is clean, then for instance, their neurotransmitter, their serotonin, which 95% of it, the manufacturing begins right in their gut. We need their gut to be healthy. We need to calm the system. And once you decide that that's what you're going to do, then you decide to remove dairy. That's it. You don't need a strategy. You need to make a decision. So when you make the decision, no more dairy, the strategies will multiply from your brain. You'll wake up in the middle of the night with another idea. You'll think, oh, I bet you I can go on the internet and I can find a recipe that's for dairy-free stuff. Trust me. And nourishingmeals.com is a website I use all the time. There's gluten-free, dairy-free, preservative-free, refined sugar-free recipes there. I love it. I'll put it below, but it's nourishingmeals.com. But you don't need strategies. Who needs it? You're too old. You're too smart. You don't need a strategy. You need a belief. You need to tell yourself, dairy is harming my child right now. Hey, in a year, and your kid's all cleaned up and awesome, I don't care. Give them some dairy. Maybe you'll see the effects after a number of weeks. And you'll go, ooh, maybe I'm going to pull that back again. Listen, I hate to say it, but we weren't made to drink cow's milk. And listen, I was a dairy lover. Glass of milk, like I'm talking like 12 ounces of skim milk every night I had, all the time, up until about a year ago. I never even myself was ever going to give up dairy. I just had my kids do it because I saw such amazing benefits from it. And then in the last year, I've been I was taking it out, and now I don't have it at all. And when I do have it, I absolutely notice it. I feel so yucky within an hour. And then if I've had a lot of it, like at a party or something, like maybe a lot of cheese on crackers, I will wake up and I'll actually have a funny, foggy brain. And even if I had there have been times I've been at a party, no alcohol, didn't have a glass of wine, had bottles of water, but had cheese and crackers and had stuff that had a lot of cheese and dairy, etc. in it. The next morning, I wake up with fuzzy brain. I wake up with a nauseous little bit of a stomach, and I have high anxiety. It's like my first thing is anxiety. I used to actually think that it was normal to wake up in the morning with an anxious mindset. I had no idea that my foods were affecting the way that my mind worked. Pulled it all out, and I wake up so clean and clear. And I have to tell you, for me, if I want to have gluten or dairy or certain things, I know that I can pay to play. I know that I'll just deal with it in the morning and not feel so awesome for a day. But for our kids, our ADHD kids who are really in crisis mode, they don't have time for that. And they will not be able to make the decision themselves. They need you as their mom to say, listen, we're not having dairy. We ain't doing it. We're not doing the gluten. Sorry. Or whatever else it is that you need to pull out. For me, we pull out gluten, dairy, refined sugars, preservatives, and dyes. That's what we pull out. I'm careful with the corn. I can do popcorn as long as it's like non-GMO, organic, and I pop it on the stove. But other than that, we don't really use that either. But we have a gazillion things to eat all day long. A gazillion things to eat. So make the decision. Make the decision. My strategy is to tell you to decide that your kids don't have dairy because it delays their healing and it actually harms them in the process right now. You got it, moms. Let's do this.